What's going on, everyone? So today is media day. Depending on when you're watching this, it may have already happened. This video is uploaded at 10 a.m., so an hour from when media day officially begins. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to just hearing all of the conversations that come out of media day, all of the dialogue. Obviously, you'll get the generic answers of like, it was always my dream to play for the Lakers, and I'm here on a mission to win an NBA championship, and that's all great and fine, and we all love to hear that, right? But those are the PC answers, right? No one ever is like, yeah, I'm on this team and I don't really want to be here. This team's trash. Like, you never hear those kind of things, right? Everyone's always professional in these types of settings. But I want to hear and I hope that they're asked the types of questions that really give us a good insight and a look into the players that are on this roster, right? Like Christian Wood, for example. I want to hear, where does he see he best fits? What does he think about him alongside Anthony Davis, him alongside LeBron James? Is he comfortable being a third, fourth, fifth option? If he only, he thinks that he's going to have the opportunity to start and get heavy minutes, are you going to be okay with, coming off the bench the entirety of the season? Are you going to be okay with if you only play 15 to 20 minutes a game, right? I'm not saying that that'll happen, but I would like to hear some real hard-hitting questions, some of these guys. Now, in today's media, that's very rare. It's not really a thing, but I really am looking forward to just kind of hearing, because you can learn a lot about somebody's perspective by the way that they answer questions and conduct themselves in the interview, right? Especially when everybody is on their P's and Q's, they're on their best behavior, everyone's sitting up straight and speaking proper and all that stuff, because you want it to be perceived the best way possible. But I'm curious, like Austin Reeves, what do you think your experience with Team USA will translate to the Lakers season? How do you think that you have improved since then and now? What is your goal and idea beyond a championship? What is your plan with this team, with this roster? Darvin Ham, I want to hear all those ins and outs, right? I want to hear, Rob Pelinka. We got the interview with Rob Pelinka as well as Darvin Ham the other day, and they gave us some really good insights. And there were some really good questions asked in that. It was a really good interview. And so I'm hoping that that's kind of what we see out of Lakers Media Day. I want to hear kind of each individual player's kind of thoughts and opinions on what this opportunity is, beyond we want to win a championship. Of course, that's the goal, right? That's why you play the game, is to win an NBA championship. But I want to know, what are the other things besides that? Because this is a roster that is just ridiculous, right? This is a roster that is the deepest in the entire league, hands down, right? Don't get me wrong, there are some monster teams now. Like the Celtics getting Drew Holiday is ridiculous. Obviously, the Bucks, who were already one of, if not the best teams in the league, and very likely the number one seed in the East, just got Damian Lillard. You got the Phoenix Suns and all that. You still got Denver, who, they probably have the fewest questions out of anybody, right? And the Lakers are going to have their work cut out for them. Darvin Ham is going to have to earn his paycheck this year, right? Darvin Ham is really going to have to manage egos and minutes and opportunity, because you have 5 or 6 guys that are expecting 30 minutes, and you have 5 or 6 guys that are expecting 20 plus minutes. There's just not enough minutes for all those guys, right? So how is it going to go? And Rob Pelinka and Darvin Ham both addressed the time thing and talked about how, different games are going to get different looks. Guys are going to have, more minutes some nights than others. There's going to be a lot of experimentation. There will also be nights off for guys, You have, of course, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They're probably missing 20 plus games this year. So that's going to give other guys an opportunity to step up in their absence. But, like Rob Pelinka said, between October and June, that's a lot of time. So everyone's going to get an opportunity to eat. And I love that answer. But speaking specifically on LeBron James and Anthony Davis, obviously we go as far as they take us, right? They're the superstars. They're the best players on the team. 2 top 10 guys. Lakers still, look, I understand Giannis and Dame seem great. I understand that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant seem great. I understand all of that. We're still the only roster in the entire league with 2 top 10 guys with the most depth out of anybody. And with that, if we use that properly and we use that correctly, then we should see LeBron James and Anthony Davis minutes managed and them hopefully healthier this season, like we saw in the 2020 year, right? They didn't have to play 35 to 40 minutes just to keep us alive in games. Now, this season, with all the depth and all the talent, we shouldn't have to play them. Obviously, there's going to be games here and there. You know, you're playing Denver opening night and it's a tight game down the stretch and you want to win this. You're not going to say, well, LeBron and AD, sorry, you guys are already at 30 minutes and there's 5 minutes left, so we got to take you out. Like, no, you're going to go try to win and close out the game. But throughout the course of the season, that shouldn't happen. Also, the good thing is that LeBron James is grandfathered into their new rule, the new rest rule, which is great. I mean, he should be. Out of anybody, he should be. 39, year 21, like, give the guy a break, right? Like, the guy deserves some rest. So it would be nice because you can, if you need to, rest LeBron and AD. You don't have to overwork them. You don't overneed them. I still believe, not against like the Celtics or the Bucks or something like that, but I do think, if we're playing like Detroit or something like that, I do think without LeBron and AD, we could win that game. My guess is they probably rest them on back-to-backs or play one on one back, the other one on the other back, that kind of thing. But look, if Anthony Davis is dominant and MVP level Anthony Davis, no one's beating this Lakers team. No one is. I'm sorry. I know other people, I love this team, I love that team. If we get bubble AD this year, which Austin Reeves has talked about, Anthony Davis's shot has came back and he looks great and he looks good and all that jazz. If that's true and he can get back to being that dominant and be arguably the best player in the league again, like nobody's beating this team because you'd have Anthony Davis with LeBron James, who could still be LeBron James, who we saw last year be LeBron James. If you didn't hear, LeBron James. And then on top of that, you have just an insane amount of depth to where if anyone's having an off night, it's like, no worries, you got the next man up, right? Like, and that's the difference. Like most of these teams, if Damian Lillard's having an off night, Milwaukee might be in trouble, right? It's just the Lakers, it's like, okay, LeBron's struggling. He's having a rough night. He's still going to go get you 20, but, he's not shooting efficiently and effectively. Don't worry. We got 6 other guys that could go off for 20 to 30. We're good, right? So there's not as much pressure on these 2 guys to handle and carry a big portion of the workload. And that is important. Right? Because that was a huge problem the last few years. I mean, even last year, how many times did LeBron have to overexert himself just for us to even just be in the game? I mean, how many times did he score 30 to 40 points and we lost? Right? Same thing with Anthony Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis had a monster 40 and 15 and 15 games, and you're just like, this is ridiculous. And then go and we'd still lose because we just didn't have the talent. We didn't have the roster. Right now we have real size. We have real athleticism. We have real speed. We have real shooting. We have real defense. We have real versatility. I mean, you can go a big lineup. You could go a small, big lineup. You could go a lineup with all 6'8" guys. You go a lineup with all shooters, right? There's so many different configurations that the Lakers can operate and use. It's insane. There's not another team that is this versatile in the entire league. We could literally go game in and game out, and we can go and match our units based on the team that we're playing. Again, that's massive. This roster has everything. Is it perfect? No, there's never a perfect roster, but this roster is about as good as it gets, as far as front to back goes. And there's no excuses this year. I understand Phoenix has, on paper, an incredible team, right? Boston, you look at Milwaukee, they're all top heavy, right? Especially Phoenix and Milwaukee, or Phoenix and Boston are extremely top heavy, right? Like Milwaukee, they get a couple pieces, but they're still pretty top heavy, right? So you're talking about all these top heavy teams that when we get to a 7-game series, they only have 7 guys that they can run. Where if guys start getting fatigued as we get moved further and further, right? Like, we're going to have guys that, like, that's how we beat Denver in 2020, right? Jokic was one guy, and we had several, and we just threw fresh legs at him constantly the entire game. I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but I'm saying, like, that was a big part of it, right? You throw Dwight Howard and have him bang him up and give him hard fouls. Then you throw JaVale McGee and have him bang him up and give him hard fouls. And then you slide over Anthony Davis and have him bang him up and give him hard fouls, right? Like, that's what we can do with this roster, right? Would I like another sizable center? Sure. Would I like somebody to match up against the Jokic and the Embiids and the, Valanciunas and the Steven Adams and the bigger centers in this league? Of course. But you can't have everything. Every team has issues. Every team has flaws. The Lakers are about as close as you get to, like, roster construction wise being fine, right? You got depth, you got a ton of size, you got a ton of switchability, you got great guard play, you got great perimeter play, you're probably the best defense in the league. I expect them to be number one, at worst top 2 or 3, but they should be number one defensively. You're talking they should be top 5 offensively, if not top 3, right? Like, the only teams that I could see potentially being better offensively than them is, like, Sacramento again, because that's kind of their offense, like pushed pace, 20 seconds or less type thing. So I could see them really pushing things. So Sacramento's probably up there. The Phoenix Suns are probably up there, and maybe Denver's probably up there, right? Boston has been in the top 5 the last few years. They're, they got Kristaps Porzingis stuff, so they're probably in the top 5 again. But Lakers should be somewhere in that top 3 to 5 offensively. And if they're the number 1 defense, then you're talking about the best defense in the league with a top 5 offense, and you're talking one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they're the number 1 offense in the league. I know some people laugh at that and scoff at that and all that stuff. Lakers were 7th at 116 and some change. Sacramento was number 1 last year at 120. You don't think that this roster is 4 points better than last year? 4 points better than last year? Of course they are. Right? I think we're going to be middle of the pack at worst from 3-point range, which is a far cry from, we were 26th, 27th last year in 3-point percentage. So I expect us to be better in all those categories. I think we'll be the best defense, and I think we'll be a top offense. We're here. That's it. This is it. Media Day is here. We are officially here. And I'm pumped. I'm excited. I can't wait. And, subscribe, stay up to date, because we got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a long season, and I'm pumped and excited for it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Are you excited for this upcoming season? What do you think about Media Day? And, again, look forward to all the news and stuff as it comes out. We'll talk about it. Appreciate it. See you all in the next one.